Hello. In this video, I want to talk to you about you and what you can do right now to start making money. All right. I want to tell you a little bit about 51 Talk and why you should strongly consider this company. To do this, let's go ahead and let's take a tour. I want you to think about, what do you and Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz have in common? You don't have to tell me now. You could just think about that. It's a weird question, but what do you have in common? Okay. So, did you ever miss any of these millionaire making opportunities? Did you miss these opportunities because you weren't born at the time, or B, you just didn't have the information to get started, to get going? Discovery of the New World in 1492, that was a great hustle. The slave trade of North America that started in 1619, that made a lot of people a great deal of money. This is why I'm here in the U.S., because of the slave trade. Maybe you missed the gold rush of 1848. Or how about this, as we're getting a little bit closer. 1994, there was the free trade agreement where you could trade anywhere around the globe. And then subsequently, 1 year later, was the dot-com era, where people were making money off of the internet. This is still ongoing, but millionaires and billionaires were born at the onset of the dot-com era. Well, maybe you haven't made your millions that way, but there is a way to go in, and I'm not going to say you make millions. I'm saying you can make enough to start your millionaire dream by working this hustle, working in China. Okay? But the beautiful thing about that is, to do that, you ain't got to go anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right in your home and make this money and start building some extra money to build your millionaire dream. Okay? So, the East, China in the East, is the new Great West of the great expansion from the 1800s. It is the new gold rush. And we're going to figure out, and I'm going to talk to you about why it is the new gold rush. Okay? Why is there gold in them there Himalayan hills? Why is there gold in the hills? Okay? So, let's look at population in China. In China, there are 1.9 billion people. In the United States, there are 350 million people. In the entire world, let me get my little prop here. In this whole world that we live in, there are 7.5 billion people. Now, when we compare the 1.9 billion in China to 7.5 billion in the world, what does that tell you? Most of the people in the world live in one country, China. That means, for those of you who are business students and those of you who are not, there is a huge market there, a huge market. When you think about things in your home and things that are made, if you look at some of these things, guess what it's going to say? Made where? In China. Made in China. So not only do they have the biggest world population, but about everything that's made is made in China. Okay? Here's the other thing. Guess what the language of commerce is around the world? I don't care when I go and visit foreign countries, where I go, as soon as I open my mouth, I don't care if I know the language or not. As soon as I open my mouth and they hear my American accent, they start to speak English. Okay? So, whenever there's business that's transacted in the world, globally, internationally, amongst different countries, which is happening all the time, it is happening in English. If you are someone who is the educated class, in any country around the world. Guess what you're going to learn? English. It's right up there with typing and technology skills, okay? So, if you are from Canada, if you are from the United States, not only are you an English speaker, but we have the most coveted accent of the English-speaking countries. We have the North American accent. This is what the world wants. They want that North American accent, okay? Here's the other thing. The Chinese, because they are making everything, they are gaining a great deal of wealth, a great deal of money. There are new classes of wealthy people coming about every single day, and these wealthy people want their children to know how to speak English, okay? Because these people who are wealthier and those people who are climbing, hoping to be for the next generation and the generation after them, are educating their children where? Not in China. Not that they're not great universities there. Not some of them are sending them to England. Some of them are sending them to Australia, but the vast majority are sending their children to universities in the United States. And guess what? These students cannot just come here from China learning the language. They had better mastered it before they set foot on the university campus. I know that because I teach at a university, okay? So they have got to almost have near native speaking English ability when they get here. And here's another little nugget. When you look at all the universities in the United States and you look at their international students, guess where most of the international students come from? You said it, China. So, knowing that China has the world's largest population, knowing that everything that we have made in the United States mostly is made here in China, made in China, knowing that there's a growing wealthy class who are aspiring wealthy class, and they are sending their children to the U.S. to get educated. Guess what they need? They need you. They need you and what you already have. And guess what, folks? You can be a part of this. I'm not saying you're going to make millions from this opportunity. Hey, you might come up with a concept where you do. But I'm telling you, you can make enough to start building your dream. My goal when I first got started in this, I just needed an extra $300 a month. But I'm doing over and above that just by taking advantage of this need, this ready market, and this opportunity. So, what do you and Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz have in common? Yeah, I like red too. Yeah, those red shoes are cute. Yeah, they're cute. But remember, on the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy spent about the entire movie looking to get back home, right? And what did she realize at the end? She was wearing the shoes the whole time. She had the ability the whole time. The only thing she had to do was click her heels. She could have clicked her heels at the beginning, right, of the journey. But she had to take this whole journey to find out. All you got to do is click your heels. Well, guess what? You are proverbially wearing the shoes if you're a native English speaker. Maybe you don't have to click your heel. The only thing you got to do is open your mouth and do what comes naturally to you, and that is speak. That's it. That is it. Okay, so as a native English speaker, the Chinese people want what you have, and they are willing to pay you for it. Okay? Imagine you are making anywhere from $15 to $24 an hour, depending on your education, depending on the type of class that you teach with them, from the comforts of your own home. Who was that? Wanda from y'all remember the show The Living Color? you ain't got to go nowhere. You don't have to go nowhere. You can do this from the comforts of your own home. I literally wake up in the morning, put on a shirt, put some makeup on or whatever, and I plop right here in front of this computer, and I start reading primary level slides. I mean, I'm talking about words like, I like red. Do you like red? And if they say rud or ride, I am correcting their pronunciation. And that's it, okay? I get to work when I want. I get to set my own schedule. I choose to work in China from home before I go into my actual 9 to 5, okay? So I'm on the East Coast. I work from about 5 to 8 a.m., get dressed, and go into work. And by the time I've done that, in a given month, I've made Monday through Friday. I don't work that on the weekend. I need my weekends off. I've made over about $1,000 a month, just like that, before I've even gone into work. So imagine that extra money. And that's what I choose to do. Some people work more hours than I do. I just do 3 hours a day because I need work-life balance, but I digress. But anyway, so you can be making that kind of money or more when you want to make it. They have a peak time they consider in China. China is 13 hours if you're on the East Coast. They're 13 hours ahead of us. So our 5 a.m. right now, because we observe daylight savings, they don't, is their 6 p.m. Now, when we fall back, when we spring forward, then our 5 a.m. is their 5 p.m. But right now, during daylight savings, while we're falling back, our 5 a.m. is their 6 p.m. So 5 to 9, 6 to 9, their time are peak times for them. Another peak time would be the 6 p.m. Eastern Standard slot to about 10 or 12 p.m. Why? Because that's the morning time the next day in China, and it gives people an opportunity who want to learn a little English before they go into work, before they go into school, okay? How often do you have to work? Guys, you will not work for 51 Talk. You will be a contractor. You will be your own business owner. You can set up a contract with them for as little as 2 hours, 10 weeks out of the year, and you contract in if you want to. Or you can work as much as 8+ hours a day. Really, the choice is yours on how you want to do this. And I have worked with people who have ridiculous, crazy schedules because they need to make money. I'm not asking questions. I don't know what people's situation is, or what people's situations are. But I do know I work with someone who's working 3 p.m. to 11 a.m. and she took 3 hours off at night. And those are the kind of hours that she's doing 51 Talk. So you can do the math on that. There are 3 streams of income you'll have with 51 Talk. Teaching is your primary stream, or it doesn't have to be your primary stream. It's one of the streams. You can work one-to-one, teach one-to-one classes, individual private lessons. And as of this date, for 25 minutes, you make $7.50. So in 1 hour, you can make $15. There are also recruitment classes, 1v6 classes. These are 1 teacher to 6 students. It's 45 minutes. If you have your bachelor's degree, it's $18 an hour for the 45 minutes, not an hour. If you don't have your bachelor's degree, if you're in school right now, it's $16 for 45 minutes, okay? Then there are 1 to 4 group classes. These are classes where students will work with you the entire 10 weeks. And for 45 minutes, that's 18. There also is a substitute teaching stream. Let's say you are sitting around one Saturday or one evening and think, while I'm sitting here watching this TV and watching other people make money, I could be making my own money. Let me get on here and open up some teaching slots so that I can start earning. And so people need subs all the time. The company connects you with who needs teachers for their class. You get those classes depending on whether it's an individual or group class, you get that rate. Now, let's get to the good stuff, the recruiting. Recruiting is another stream of income. If you know other folks who need to make more money and they have a native teacher, they have a native English speaking accent, and they can be available and they're teachable and trainable, once they are successfully referred to the company and hired on as a teacher and have so many slots of classes that they book, you make anywhere from $100 to $150 per recruit. Now think about that. If you could just get 10 people a month to do this opportunity, if they don't have certification or whatever, you make $100 times 10. That's $1,000 right there. Ching, ching. It's adding up. It's adding up. The other thing I love about 51 Talk is their bonus program. Okay. You get bonuses out the yin yang. This is not the American teaching system. They actually do value their teachers. They actually do value the education system. And because of that, they will reward you for doing your job, okay? For showing up to class on time. I mean, it really is kind of silly, but you get bonuses for showing up to your classes. You get bonuses for booking so many slots. You get bonuses for having students sign up with the company if you're doing a recruitment program, if you're doing the 1 to 6 classes and somebody says, you know what, I really like this company, I want to be a part of this, and the parent signs their student up, they're going to pay you for that too. So, you know, I can't say enough good things about the income stream. Here's another great thing. They got 1.9 billion people. And I'm not saying they're all trying to learn English, but even if 20 million folks are trying to learn English, let's say, and there are only 300 million folks in the United States, and not all of them qualify, and not all of them are aware of this opportunity, and not all of them are going for this opportunity, they need you. They need you a lot. So much so that they have very minimum requirements. One is a degree. You have a degree. Right now, they're using the language of a bachelor's degree, but they have entertained people with associate's degree, okay? Or just be enrolled in college. Enrolled or have a degree, okay? That's a no-brainer, okay? You need to have the native English accent, and you need to have a year of formal or non-formal teaching experience or tutoring experience. Now let's talk about this formal. Formal is when you've been a teacher, you've gone through a K through 12 class and you're teaching in front of other people. That's formal teaching. But informal teaching is if you have children, if you have nieces and nephews, or you have neighbors and you've helped them with their homework, that's tutoring, okay? If your child or your children that you knew are 9 years old and you've been helping them learn ABCs or whatever, read cards since they were in the first grade, that's 8 years of teaching experience that you've had. If you worked with Girl Scouts, if you've been someone in your church or synagogue or temple that, you know, you've helped with religious studies, spiritual, that counts as teaching experience. I've even had some business owners who own businesses and whose businesses have a line for children to use, and they are teaching and telling children how to use their product line. Guess what, folks? That's teaching experience. That's experience that you can use, okay? I want to take a virtual class tour of what a class looks like. It's going to be long. I'm going to save that for another video, part 2. But thank you for joining me. And I want to share in part 2 this virtual course and what the course actually looks like.